Hello, YouTube! This is Stefan from Rip City Baseworks, and today this is going to be part 1 of a new series I'm starting about building a budget web server. And by budget, I mean it should cost you kind of your choice, anywhere from $100 to $300. And so, part 1 is going to cover the hardware. So, I'm going to show you the best ways to buy quality hardware on a budget. So, like, again, your choice, $100 to $300. And then the next videos are subject to change a little bit, but it should go something along the lines of I'll show you what upgrades I recommend you do to the hardware you buy, um, your options for an operating system to use, and then the software you will need. And then I'll go over some basics of building the website, and then how to get the website actually online. And this will also, for this purpose, it'll also be a dual purpose server slash workstation for anyone interested in that also. So kind of like a dual purpose series. So just to get started, your two best resources are going to be Craigslist and eBay. So it just depends on your preference. If you're willing to go meet people around your city or town, that's going to be your best value. Or if you just want it delivered to your door, eBay is not bad either. So I'm going to start out with Craigslist. So just type in the name of your town. I'm in Portland, of course. So what I've found to filter out all of the overpriced stuff, just go by owner only. Dealer stuff's usually overpriced. And it just depends on your what. So type in your price range. I'm going to start out around, let's say, 200. And your minimum price is usually good to put in. Let's do 50 in this case. And that lowered it down substantially. And to just start out, you're going to want a spec you want. So like how much RAM you want, the hard drive or solid state drive, or the processor. Now, for a server, the most important is going to be processor, hard drive, and RAM. So graphics aren't going to matter much. You're not going to be using this for gaming or anything, so that's going to be where we cut corners. So for processors, I recommend you get the best you can for the money. I would go with an i7 personally if you can afford it. They're not going to be that expensive. Oh, and make sure to stay away from the power saving models, the i7U editions. Those are not going to work very well for you. But those would be in laptops only. So, and then brings this point. Do you want a desktop or a laptop? In my case, a laptop is better because I really need portability because it's not going to be staying in one place very likely. So I need something portable. Also keeps the cost down. You don't need to buy accessories like a mouse or a keyboard or a monitor. All of those are optional for personal preference with a laptop. If you want to go ultra budget, you can get a laptop for like around 150, 200, and then just leave it like that. You do minimal upgrades. So I'm going to start out i7 processor. Let's look that up. So we got a desktop off the bat. That one actually looks pretty decent. It wouldn't really need any upgrades. 8 gigs of RAM is plenty. Personally, I'm going to be going with 16 because I'm also going to be doing Android development on this. But 8 gigabytes is fine for most people. So that's actually a pretty good looking deal. So I'm going to open that one. This one looks pretty good also. 200 laptop. That wouldn't need any other accessories. So 200, unless you want to upgrade the RAM, is going to be the final price you pay. This doesn't look bad either. You're going to want to stay away from ultrabooks. Those are not going to work as well. Especially, and stay away from solid state drives for your primary drive. Yeah, you'd use it to load the OS, that's fine. But if you're going to be manipulating data a lot, you're going to want a hard disk drive because they will last longer. In theory, at least. Let's look at this. And you could use old laptops, old desktops. Doesn't really matter the age that much. Just to avoid all the things I mentioned earlier. Okay, so that's enough for now to get started. And then if you want ultra budget, I'll get a couple of those also. Let's do 100 or less. Let's do 10 just to get rid of any spam. And there are a couple with i7s even, so you can get decent performance even on a budget. And let's try, if you want to go older, let's try like AMD. Sorry about that. You're going to want to stay away from that. That processor's not going to do you very well. Yeah, most of these are looking pretty meh. Pretty much you're going to want to research the processor. I'll show you that, the best way to do that in a second. Yeah, so for budget ones, you're not going to have money options, but if you're lucky, you will be able to find a i7 or i5, maybe A10 or A8 laptop. Yeah, see, these aren't looking too bad. So let's look at some of these. So if you're looking for a desktop, something like this looks pretty good. The hard drive is going to have plenty of space on it. Processor isn't going to be the fastest anymore. It's pretty old and it's only is it a dual core? Now let's check it out. So best way to research processors is by Googling the processor name. So I'm going to open a new tab and just Google that. And this is a very old processor, so you might want to take that into consideration. It's probably going to do what you need it to do, and it is a quad-core processor, so that's good. At least you want to try to stay away from dual cores at this point in time. If that's all you can afford in your budget, then it's probably fine. You're not going to be able to do any development on it, so if you're trying to build a workstation, that's not recommended at all. But for a server that's just hosting a simple website, you can go minimum. You could go all the way down to even that E-series laptop would work, the AMD E-series. So this would be fine if you're looking for a basic desktop that has a decent amount of RAM and a good hard drive. And this is actually going to be a pretty good processor for the money. He's only asking 200. On another recommendation, always try to talk people down. Like find superficial flaws in the laptop when you go to meet them. Try to talk them down like $20, save money down the line. It's a strategy that usually works for me, so hopefully it'll work for you also. It looks like it has a pretty decent Wi-Fi card, so that's always good. So this laptop would definitely be solid if you're looking to go to the laptop route. This one would be also. Let me try to find an example of one that would not be very good. That processor is much better than expected for a laptop that looks old like that. Wow. Okay, that would not be bad either. It just looks old. This one might be one of the U processors I was talking about. I'm not sure though, as they don't list the processor model. Stay away from this. This is a tough repair that involves reflowing the motherboard. And this looks like a decent deal. Especially if you want to build multiple servers, you could probably get a package discount. And that's a dealer who wasn't advertised as such, so I'd be kind of suspicious of that one. Okay, if Craigslist isn't your thing, there's also eBay. eBay is a great source also. So it's going to be a bit more expensive though, so let's just do, and you have to be, it's more finicky in how you actually search it, so because they will just show you related results, unlike Craigslist, which actually shows you the word matches. Let's do laptop, i7, 8 gigabytes. See what pops up. If you want to go a little bit over 300, this looks like a pretty good deal. Well, let's go back into the budget range I did originally. Let's do 200 max, which might be harder to find on eBay. Let's do 50. Try that. Let's look at this one while that's loading. This is actually a very good deal, especially if it's used. This was a high-end computer back in like 2013, I'm pretty sure. Let me check the processor real quick. But I would recommend this one if you can go a little bit over that budget. As a 2012, same difference. My main laptop's from 2012, so don't let age fool you. As long as it's, I'd say like 2010 or later, you're probably fine if you do your research. But this one looks pretty good. It has dedicated graphics, that's a plus. Okay, so let's see what we can find. This was a pretty good processor back in the day also, so that's not a bad deal. Depends how much shipping is also. You also have to worry about shipping on eBay, so sometimes that can add to the cost unless you find one with free shipping. So pretty much the 2620M and the 3520M are going to be good bets if you buy a laptop. And then for desktops, again, it gets more expensive because then you have to take into account the accessories I avoid auctions for the most part. I'm never able to win them. I've tried a couple times. If you're good at that, then maybe you could save money doing it. I'm not sure. Let's do free shipping only because shipping's usually outrageous for these. Oh, and there's none. So it's definitely going to be harder to find stuff on eBay. But what you can find on eBay is, let me go back to the main page. If you do go to desktop route, you can find cheap monitors on eBay. So let's do monitor 1080p. Let's do, unless screen size matters. See, look, here's one. LCD monitor, 70 bucks. That's not too bad. And if you do keyboards, you can get for like 10 bucks on eBay if you're not picky. If you need a mechanical keyboard, it's going to get really expensive really fast, but especially if you're willing to buy from China, it'll be extremely cheap. See, look, $11.49 shipped from the US. So you can't really get much cheaper than that. So there you have it. That should go over the hardware pretty well. Again, recommended specs, if you can afford it, i7 non-power save U edition processor, at least 6 to 8 gigs of RAM, and then you definitely want, probably most important is going to be like a 500 gigabyte or bigger hard drive. So, and oh, so I should probably go into the computer I'm using. So I was able to find a deal on Craigslist, a old Alienware gaming computer that I am repurposing to do this. Again, I didn't buy for the graphics card. I just bought it because it was a good deal. I got it for $150. It has a high-end for the time Intel i7 processor, non-U edition. Pretty sure it's either, I think it's QM if I remember correctly. Has I'll need to upgrade the RAM. It has one 8GB stick right now. For my uses, I'm looking for 16, so I'm gonna get a second one of those. Then it has a 750GB hard drive, which should be plenty for what I need. So, and there you have it. You should be able to find a deal similar to that if you're willing to look hard enough. So, thank you for watching, and I'll hopefully get the next video up by next week.